the mocking moments point and grin, just to remind me how they will be my company for all the time that you're away. They'll fatten up and multiply, they'll fill up the whole day. Oh, how then could I miss you when you left me so much time?
Jen Chapin is the daughter of singer-songwriter Harry Chapin. Jen carries on the humanitarian tradition that her deceased father began.
Father Harry was a songwriter and singer, and at some point in his life became a social activist when he realized that achieving a certain measure of fame was leaving that empty feeling, and he wasn't inclined to do a lot of drugs or do what other artists do when they realize that their fame and fortune is not the answer. So he became very involved in hunger and poverty issues, and as well as arts and different things in the community, and being connected to the local community as well as the world community.
How old was your father when he passed?
He was 38. And he died in a car accident, so it was very, very premature. But
did you see yourself when you were small following in your father's footsteps at all?
If anything, if I saw myself following in his footsteps, it was as an activist. I mean, that was the thing. That was the aspect that was much more vivid to me, especially because my mom was alive and she was running around. She had a really tough time trying to keep a lot of the projects afloat that he had been able to personally fund. He did about half of his concerts were benefits, and he did over 200 concerts a year. So a lot of there was a performing arts foundation community theater group that he pretty much funded. He was active in the Long Island Philharmonic, the Symphony Orchestra, and the ballet, and World Hunger Year, which I'm now chair of the board of directors, and a group called Long Island Cares. It's just the major food bank on Long Island. And so my mother was just running around trying to keep them all afloat, and do whatever fundraising things she could do. And
as an educator, you combine your passion for music with your commitment to social change. And you have workshops, music and social action, and the hows and whys of hunger, black music in America. Your father and a co-founder, what was his name, founded why?
Bill Ayers.
Bill Ayers. And you now are the chair board person of that organization.
And Bill's the executive director.
And you also have a network of grassroots groups fighting hunger and poverty. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. My dad and Bill was a Catholic priest who, in his service to the diocese, ended up in broadcasting. So he was a Catholic priest, rock DJ, and he met my dad through that forum, and they started to talk about issues. And this was just at the time when my dad had a #1 hit, and I think my mother was she's a good sort of question nagging, just sort of poking those little thought-provoking ideas in you. And so he was starting to look around for some, I think, meaning in his life. And he and Bill started getting in conversations talking about, I think specifically, the famines going on very publicly in Bangladesh and Ethiopia. And they started saying, we got to do something about this. And the name came from the idea that every year is World Hunger Year. Instead of this kind of, it's the year of the child, it's the year of the woman, and then, then the next year it's something else, but saying we need to have a sustained commitment to ending this problem, because we have more than enough food to feed the world several times over. We have all of the technological means, we just have to find the political will. And they were going with partly that same premise, talking about in passive people, that if people know about the issues, if they are informed, they will care, they will do something. And so they wanted to just, starting out really with the media, trying to get the word out and start trying to get people's consciousness of the issues to be more in the forefront. 40,000 people die in the world every day from hunger, and that's like, the World Trade Center being attacked, 13 times in a day, but there's no headlines, it's just something we either don't know about or just accept. And so they started with that focus on media and information, and as time went on, the focus became more and more on domestic hunger, the idea that we had that was just, as my dad said, the ultimate obscenity, to have hunger in the richest country in the world. And about a dozen years ago, we started a program called Reinvesting in America, which is essentially a network of community-based organizations from the grassroots. I mean, organizations in some ways that might overlap with what you do here. They could be doing anything from job training to homeless transition, where people are building life skills to be independent, to after-school programs, community gardens where people can learn, grow their own food and have the spiritual benefit of being involved with the soil. And so what we do with this network is, well, first just collect the information, have a database, and we have over 4,500 groups that we have designated. We have several hundred of them that we have designated as model programs, that really what they do is exciting. It is proven to enhance self-reliance and get at the root causes of hunger, and that it's sustainable and replicable, that other communities can take a look at what they're doing and bring it back to their own homes. So a lot of other organizations have learned to come to us as a source of information, and the smaller groups themselves come to us for help. And Artists Against Hunger and Poverty, which is a program we're trying to get off the ground more recently, is basically taking this information that we have and making it accessible to performing, touring artists, so that, and Bruce Springsteen, who's really has a very great social awareness. He's used the program, so when he's been on a national tour, he gives us his tour schedule, and we say, well, okay, when you're in Boise, Idaho, you have to check out this group, and maybe you can give them your t-shirt sales, and maybe you can give them 10 front row seats that they can auction off. Maybe you can give them a photo op. Natalie Merchant and the band Fish, they've also taken advantage of the program, and it's good PR for them, and it can be a great fundraiser and friend raiser for the organizations themselves, and it just does more to further the whole, what I think is a natural connection between artists and community group. But our interest is in not reinventing the wheel, but in finding, what's working and help other people to do it. And that the irony of, in New York City in 1980, I think there were 12 emergency food providers, whether they be in church basements or schoolyards where they would give out food to families in need. Now there's 1,500. And the story there is, on the one hand, you have this incredible outgrowth of compassion and recognition of neighborliness. People in New York saying, we've got to help those in this city who are in need.
Interesting, the combination of the social activism and to be a singer. In the Native American culture, they would call the true healers also singers. And there's the aspect there of singing as a healing gift from God.
Yeah, I think a lot of cultures. When I was in college, I did a semester in Zimbabwe. And that's why I've been so excited to see these traces of Thomas Mapfumo around, because he's such an icon in that country. And when I was there, he was there, and it was just like a regular Saturday night thing to just go down to the little shebeen where he was playing. But as he comes from the Imbira tradition, of where the Imbira is directly channeling spirits, and it has that strange kind of dichotomy of being very respected in the culture, but also, I guess as often spiritual figures are, being also kind of maligned,